If you're a home service business and you're doing any sort of marketing, you need to understand the KPIs that you should be expecting in the 2026 season, because the 2026 season is just starting. And we can see that the KPIs may not look the same as 2016 Facebook ads. Instead, you're going to see a different booking rate, close rate, CAC, which is your customer acquisition cost. And by the way, hey, my name is Carl from Stoy Media, and long story short, we're a lead vendor. We provide leads on a pay-per-lead, pay-as-you-go basis for home service businesses. And so let's run into all the metrics, because I would rather be honest with you and tell you what the real numbers are so you have the right expectation when you buy leads from a company like us, you do your own advertising, SEO, whatever. Now, this is mainly for marketing, meaning paid ads, so Google ads, Meta ads, buying leads from a lead vendor like Stoy Media. And what you'll tend to see for a booking rate is about 20%, meaning 2 in 10 people or 1 in 5 people will turn into an appointment. Now, you can really influence this number. It can go down to 5% if you have a spam labeled phone number, you're only following up once, you don't even send SMS, you're not even actually doing anything with this lead, you just get it and you maybe call them a couple days later, then you'll probably have a 5% booking rate. But if you want to go up higher than 20%, you'll have to call these leads within 5 seconds, not within 5 minutes, 5 seconds. You'll need to follow up with them until they either say no or they book an appointment, and you'll need to be able to consistently not have a spam labeled phone number. Because if your phone number shows up as potentially spam, it doesn't matter who you're calling, unless they didn't even see the name, it didn't say potentially spam, and they didn't even see it and they just clicked anyways, that's the only time you'll get someone to answer the phone. Otherwise, you're going to be struggling if you have a phone number that's marked as spam. So this should be one of the most important things you fix, because if you go from a 10 to a 20% set rate, you are literally slashing your cost of marketing per job in half, which we're going to talk about CAC here in a moment of what you can expect to pay per job. Now for the next one, close rate. You can run as many appointments as you'd like, but if your salesman cannot consistently close appointments that they're getting on their calendar, then you are not going to make any money. Just to be clear. So a close rate that we tend to see is about a 20% close rate. And this is usually for those one-call closers or people who just show up once. You tend to get about a 20% close rate. Now, you can have a higher close rate if you nurture them with YouTube videos. You have a way better presentation than most people, which, by the way, the bar is on the floor. You have a physical product to even hand them. You want to actually show them what they're buying. Here's the shingle that you would potentially buy. You can do a lot more. Of course, we're not the sales trainers, so I would recommend that you check out a different channel, but Stoy Media, we're the marketers. We could help you out with the booking rate. But you can lower this by just not having a presentation, smelling bad, just being not on time. So there's so many different factors to raising or increasing your close rate, but these are industry average for companies that actually have processes in place. If you don't have any processes in place, just cut these by like 1/4 or 1/2, because you'd probably get like a 5 or 10% booking rate. You maybe get a 5 or 10% close rate if you just really don't have any processes in your home service business. Now, for your cost to acquire, if you don't understand what your CAC, your cost to acquire a customer, aka how much are you going to be paying per job to actually get this job, which, by the way, I made a different video about this, but you should ensure that you factor in a certain percent of every job to go directly to marketing. If you're selling a job off of ads, you can't expect this job to be free. What you can tend to see is anywhere from an $800 to even $1,500 cost to acquire a job, meaning out of every single job, you may have to shell out $1,500 to $800 per job just to get a job. Yes, in all the leads, you will need to be able to potentially spend this much. And if you don't factor in $800 to $1,500 per job, or at least having a 10% cost of marketing, you will always not have successful marketing. Your marketing will never be profitable if you never actually factor in some margin for your marketing. But these are the numbers you should be expecting. You should expect maybe a 20% booking rate if you have a good process, a 20% close rate if you have good salesmen with a decent presentation, they actually know how to handle objections, and your cost to acquire should be in that $800 to $1,500 range. If it's way lower, great. If it's way higher, that's probably because you have a bad booking rate, you have a bad close rate, or you're just buying really overpriced leads, which, as I mentioned earlier, if you go from 5 to a 20% booking rate, you are nearly 1/4ing this number. If you go from a 10 to a 20% close rate, even anywhere in this step, you are cutting your cost of marketing in half. So let's say right now you're in that $1,500 range, or you're spending $2,000 per job just to be able to close this deal. Well, it's probably one of these steps. So you got to fix one of these. You have to fix your booking process, your closing process to get more people through the funnel and more people to that final step of closing that deal. And if you have any questions about any of these numbers, feel free to drop a comment. And if you are potentially looking to get more leads so your funnel can continuously run, then click the link in the description, book a call, and we'll talk to you soon.